Opened in 1958 as Ramby Raceway. Myrtle Beach Speedway has seen a lot through its ages. Bought by another person in 1968 by Nick Lucas, who ended up paving it in 1974 as it was originally a dirt track. It became synonymous with some really big short track racing. The Southeast Series making plenty of stops here. The NASCAR East Series for the Busch Series made its stops here, and even held at NASCAR Busch Series races all the way up until 2000, and then in the late 16 or the late teens in 2016, it started opening. Oh, easy for me to say. Started hosting a opening season race known as the Icebreaker, and it became a very popular race here for the late models. But unfortunately, 4 years later, it was announced that the track would be closing its doors. Luckily for everyone here, everyone in attendance, everyone watching, iRacing was able to get on the grounds and scan this track before it went bye-bye, as you can visit the site nowadays, and the track is unfortunately no longer there. CRN's coverage of the Meat Stick 150 here tonight for the Man Cave After Dark Xfinity Series, brought to you by Max Graphics. And we're going to have 150 laps here of short track racing around this beautiful old, a little bit over half-mile tri-oval here, and it's short track racing at its best. Carl and I were joined in the booth tonight by John Nobinger as Jimmy is on vacation. John, a little short track racing here tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Xfinity here at the little bit of a smaller track. But with all the horsepower on tap, it's going to be hard to keep the rear end in check, and the Xfinity it's going to try to plow through the corners as well. So, it'll be interesting to see how these guys manage the tires here tonight.
Well, speaking of tires, one thing that you need to keep the tires off of, me and you were talking about a little bit beforehand, is famed turtles. And we'll hop over to your camera and show you right there in turns 1 and 2, down on the bottom, right on that white strip. You need to keep your tires off of that. Those are basically little miniature launching pads, and they seem, minuscule. They seem just like little road bumps there, but if you touch them, they will touch you back, and they will not be friendly at all. And it's going to be a rough night for sure if you get on them. But it seemed like the preferred line, at least in practice here, and maybe a little bit in qualifying, you can see kind of like middle line or top line for these Xfinity cars. Do you think that's just from what you spoke about earlier about them just being a little bit tighter of a car?
It's, it could be that. It could be the fact that, there's not a ton of banking here. So going a little further up the track, maybe they're getting into that arrow window. We'd have to check and see what kind of mile an hour, they're managing in the corners to see if that's really, something that could be true. It looks like, he's going in the pits there.
Of course, we want to take a look at it. Well, we've got 2 races left in the season here for the Man Cave After Dark Xfinity Series, as we got tonight at Myrtle Beach, and then the season will wrap up next week at Atlanta, the old Atlanta, the 2008 version of Atlanta. But looking at the championship standings coming into tonight, JP Phillips has the points lead by 65 points over Tommy Ryan. Another 1 point back is Justin Kirby in third. Then you got Grady Gherkin, Trevor Hunt rounding out your top 5. Brent Kirby, Jeff Ryan, Andrew Ratcliffe, Chris Bouchard, and Jacob Lesh round out your top 10. But big news here is that your points leader, JP Phillips, not in attendance here tonight. Tommy Ryan is second place in points, as is Justin Kirby. So it would be a very, very big opportunity for both of them to reel in your points leader, JP Phillips, before this season wraps up next week, and could make next week very, very interesting. Taking a look at the team standings, Black Magic Motorsports obviously having a great year, 87-14 for their points on the season, as they have over a 1,000-point lead over Turn and Burn Racing, Midpack Black Magic Motorsports, again, easy for me to say, in third place. Then you got Team J Racing, the Lone Eagles, Max Graphics Racing and C&M Motorsports, your 7-team field. But these drivers are finishing up with qualifying here tonight. Only a 10-car field the way it looks like. But, you know, with this race being 150 laps, John, I mean, obviously qualifying up there towards the front is nice. It's always great at a lot of tracks, but here at Myrtle Beach, it's really, I think, going to be about the tire wear, and you should be able to make some passes if you're handling your car the way it needs to be.
Yeah, you know, with them running that higher line, I'm not quite sure if it's a case of they can't run the lower line without just tearing through the tire. So, you know, if the preferred line is up high, it will open up that bottom to kind of, you know, maybe we'll see a few crossover, kind of slide it in down low real quick to get some passes made. So, yeah, but it could be, you know, 75 laps of them watching after the tires, and the last 20 get really interesting. You never quite know.
And these guys have a limited amount of tires, but typically not really getting anywhere close to using up that limit. But I know they were discussing whether they were being facetious or not about making it a mandatory 2 pit stop race here tonight, as we've seen a lot of the previous races. Majority, probably 90% of the field, only making 1 pit stop, where you know, a couple guys trying to take a flyer, making a 2 pit stop race, and not really working out for them. But we'll see if they decide to make this a mandatory 2 pit stop race, or we'll see if we get a little short track racing here, little elbows out here with only 2 races left in the season, and maybe some guys trying to reach up and grab their win before the season ends. But the guy that has the most wins on the season on the pole, and the guy that has the most to gain here, Tommy Ryan, 6 wins on the season, and again 65 points behind JP Phillips. He's got the pole here tonight, and he's, I'm sure, going to be digging as hard as he can to try and make this a one-race championship going into next week, and not let JP kind of walk away with this thing. But we'll take a look at the results from qualifying right now. Again, Tommy Ryan on top of the boards, 19.598. Grady Gherkin in second. Trevor Hunt, Jeremy Little, Brent Kirby, your top 5. And then you got Peter Pazuchek, Jeff Ryan, Tim Glass, Scott Bolster, and Justin Kirby not putting in a time. They're starting back in 10th place. So we'll see if the man only 1 point behind Tommy Ryan heading in tonight, if he can make his way up there and gain some points. But these drivers heading out there on track, and hopefully not running over those turtles coming out there, because that is it's going to be a big factor. I mean, they may not be down there for their racing line, but John, coming out of the pits here, we talk about pit entry, pit exit, and gaining and losing so much time week in and week out when it comes to pits. Here, you got to be careful coming out.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Those little turtles will give you some wheel damage too. You know, if you're lucky, hey, it kicks the camera in the right direction, you can get a little faster. It does happen occasionally, but not very often. More than often, it throws your toe all the way out, and you are just in trouble the rest of the race. But I also know getting into the pits, getting on the brakes hard is, you know, not kicking it sideways as you make that transition from the little bit of banking we have to the flat. Yeah, these cars aren't too happy about it, but we're about to get racing here.
Absolutely. We'll send it down over to Barney for the green flag. Tommy Ryan, Grady Gherkin on the front row. Barney waving that green flag. We are racing here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Drivers very quickly making it onto the backstretch. Everybody making it clean through there. Bring up the track map here for everybody. As Tommy Ryan gets a nice jump at the front. He's got a nice size gap there over Grady Gherkin, Trevor Hunt, Jeremy Little, and Peter Pazuchek into your top 5. I want to send a thank you out there to Jeremy Little for helping sponsor tonight's race, as this once again is the Meat Stick 150. Meat Stick is your wireless meat thermometer.
Okay, that makes more sense now. I was curious about that one. It looks like they quickly all decided to jump single file and you know, try not to run side by side in the very beginning here.
Yeah, I think this is what you're going to see for majority race, like we talked about, is just this thing kind of filing out. You may see some guys try to pick off some positions early, but then I think it's going to settle in here, and you'll see a lot of guys just try and maybe play a little bit of a waiting game. As again, 150 laps on tap here tonight. Only gonna need one pit stop. Now, whether again they decided to mandatory make this a 2 pit stop race, I guess we'll find that out eventually. But good start here from Tommy Ryan, and really in the catbird seat. I didn't get too much time to get out there and practice, especially practice with other cars on the track. But you know, how much following behind other cars is going to be the problem here, because there's a lot of times where it you know, really depends on the setup of how easy that car is turning. But you know, guys like Grady Gherkin or Trevor Hunt, if you're right behind the car in front of you, it could you know, really upset the car and wear out those tires even more. So being out front and being in the place where Tommy Ryan is right now is definitely where you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And just sitting here looking, you know, what is this, 7 laps in, and there's 6 seconds from first to 10th there. So, you know, they've all spread out pretty good, but nobody's really running away with it.
Still plenty early here, but the running order is still the same. Tommy Ryan out front over Grady Gherkin, Trevor Hunt. Jeremy Little, good to see him out there and qualified there on the second row, as he's definitely known for his good qualifying. I know some of these guys joined each other at the actual NASCAR race this past weekend at the Coca-Cola 600, so that was pretty cool to see some pictures of all the guys out there partaking. Hopefully it didn't get rained on too much, and good to see him back out here in the field. Scott Bolster and Justin Kirby both up 1 spot from their start, as Tim Glass has slid back a couple spots, but other than that, the field right where they started.
Yeah, you know, last weekend, you know, you get rain in Indy, get some rain at the Coke 600. I think Monaco managed to stay completely dry though.
It did, but it definitely rained on the parade of you know, Sergio Perez, and probably a lot of fans out there. I mean, I've mentioned it before. I like Monaco. I've always liked Monaco. I've always, you know, it's always been on my bucket list to try and go there for a race. But the racing, plain and simple, the racing sucks at Monaco, and there is no racing, especially when you have a caution on lap 1 and nobody needs to pit. I mean, it sucks. I mean, you want to talk about a track that you're literally only driving the track. I mean, as long as you don't make a mistake, you are where you are, and that's it. I mean, passing there is pretty much null and void. So I wish it was something they could do to kind of bring that back a little bit. But I mean, you go from there to the Indy 500, and I only caught bits and glimpses of it. But obviously, when you got a last lap pass for the win of any race, let alone the Indy 500, it is always fantastic.
You know, the Indy 500, you know, with the way those cars are handling now, it's almost becoming like a Talladega, where it's a big draft pack, and, you know, at the end, you know that there's going to be a pass. It's just timing yourself to be in the right spot. Yeah. But here on the short track tonight, looks like, yeah, because it's one of those things that, yeah, Tommy's got a 1 second gap over Grady right now, but, you know, one little mistake in the pits and that disappears in a heartbeat.
Field's starting to spread out a good amount now. As you see, the entire front stretch is covered by cars. And a full 8.5 seconds from first all the way back to last place. So certainly you don't want to lose time, because it can happen very quickly here. I mean, it's one thing driving around and just trying to be safe for a few laps, but if you're towards the back, you could be losing a lot of time very quickly if you're behind a car that maybe you're a little bit faster than. And you see a couple of little groups kind of forming. You see Pierre Bozuchek and Jeff Ryan very close in 6th and 7th, and up there in train of thought there back in 8th, 9th, and 10th. Scott Bolster, Justin Kirby, and Tim Glass all still pretty close to each other at the back of the field. Other than that, the rest of the field spread out pretty well.
It looks like some of these drivers are starting to go down to that little bit of a lower line now. So, yeah, maybe they were trying to run the top to bring the tires in slowly, or.
Well, it's always interesting,
sure.
and I know it's certainly track dependent and well, not necessarily track dependent, but setup dependent of how and where you can run the car. But it's interesting when you go to these different tracks, and some tracks running the bottom, running a little bit slower, makes sense that it's going to be saving your tires. Other tracks where you're running the middle or the high line and not putting so much crank into that wheel is what saves tires. But I mean, I've never been one to kind of fully hash that out, fully figure it out. I mean, I'm okay at saving tires, and I'll definitely put some air quotes in that. Okay, there's definitely guys that are a lot better at saving tires. Pretty much all these guys out here are running the saving tires. Me and Jimmy talk about it all the time. We can probably hang with these guys for a lap or two on their speed, but the speeds that these guys can make over an entire fuel run and still save tires, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah, definitely, because one of the things I know from running some of the short track stuff with Myrtle is, some of these guys, they'll push the fronts for a lap or 2 or 3 till the temperature builds up, and then they change their lineup to give the fronts a break and put some stress on the rears until they start to heat up, and then they just pass that back and forth all race to manage the temperatures.
Yeah, I've seen guys do that before. I've seen guys where they have a car that they feel is really tight, so they'll make sure on those first couple laps when the tires are cool that they almost kind of forcefully burn off that right rear a little bit or get it hot so that it gets a little slick and greasy, and then almost kind of make it loose by itself by burning up, and you can do the same thing. If the car is just a little bit too free, kind of heat up and get that front right a little bit angry. But with the length of green flag runs that these guys do, I mean, you can't really focus too much on burning up the tires, because it may work for that short term, and you may get some real nice speed and real nice laps for a while, but in the long run, if you got to make those tires last all the way to the end, you're probably going to lose time throughout the whole process.
Absolutely, and I mean, and there are guys out there that are capable of doing it for a long stint, but it is so hard to balance it to the number, because while you can see what the tire temps are when you come into the pits, these cars have no provision. It's not a GT3 that you can see a live tire temp and make educated guesses. You're just, it's old school. Go for it. See, it's all about feel.
So one thing we want to do with Memorial Day being yesterday, I want to send a shout out to all the military members, especially obviously the ones that is Memorial Day is named for, and those that were lost in the line of duty. And it's what Memorial Day is known for. It's tragic that we need to have a day for that, but it's certainly all the men and women that have lost their lives in the line of duty certainly deserve our thanks. And I want to give a moment of silence here for a few laps, starting with lap number 30, as May 30th used to be the official day for Memorial Day before they moved to the fourth Monday of the month. But we'll go ahead and shut off the mics here and give a moment of silence for Memorial Day.
Flag is out.
once again, want to send a belated happy Memorial Day to all those out there, as we had a little moment of silence there, and we did have a caution that was brought out here. It looks like Tim Glass having a little bit of issues here in turns 3 and 4. As you see, going into turn 3, the car just stepping out and drifting, leaving around the entire corner. Bolster going around the outside, and it looks like, for all intents and purposes, no damage to him, no damage to any other cars as your leader goes by right there. And then we've seen Glass get it and spin back around here and back going. But that's going to bring us under our first caution. Everybody into the pits here as we bring it back live, except for Tim Glass. Looks like he's going to come around and now come into the pits this time by. But first out of the pits, we're going to have a lead change here, and it's going to be Grady Gherkin getting out first. Your leader, Tommy Ryan, back there now in third as Trevor Hunt gets out there in second. Jeremy Little, Peter Wazuchek going to be your top 5. And you got Jeff Ryan, Brett Kirby, Justin Kirby, and Scott Bolster rounding out the 9-car field on the lead lap. We'll see if Tim Glass is going to be able to get his lap back or not, as he is 1 lap down currently. Again, didn't see any kind of issues, any kind of damage, so it should just be tires, fuel, and that's what it looks like it is as he's out there rolling once again. Quick little caution here on lap number 33 of 150.
Yeah, looking like after 32 laps, Grady there was only about, he was almost a second slower than that first, or that second lap they clocked in, so yeah, that's not too bad for tire fall off, honestly.
Yeah, real interesting to see. I mean, you know, taking a look at the lap times here, or not the lap times, but the pit times. And I mean, Tommy Ryan just having a long pit stop compared to everybody else, as he was about 5 seconds longer than everybody else in the pit lane. That's right there, the time that they were stationary. See Gherkin and Hunt both there at about the mid to high 14 seconds. And then an extra 5 seconds there for Tommy Ryan. So not sure if he had any kind of damage or anything like that, or maybe just making sure that thing is fully topped off on fuel. But everybody right around that 14-15 second range, other than Tommy Ryan, or maybe he just fell asleep in the pit stop. Maybe he was there to hand him an ice cream. But either way, we are getting ready to go back green here on lap number 38. It's going to be Grady Gherkin, Trevor Hunt on the front row, followed by Tommy Ryan and Jeremy Little on that second row as the field bunches back up one more time. It's in the hands of the 46, and I guess more importantly, in the feet of the 46. And he is on that loud pedal. Big jump on that inside line as Tommy Ryan going to clear and move right into second place around Trevor Hunt, heading into turn number 1. And the field immediately gets single filed out once again.
It'll be interesting to see if Tommy's happy to run behind Grady, or if he's going to look to make a move and get around him quick.
Tommy already going to the outside now, diving to the inside, trying to get the run off the corner, but Gherkin says no, not today, not yet at least. And he's going to hold on to that position. So how long will Tommy Ryan fight to try and get this spot back? As he was starting to gap everybody in the field on that run, as he had a nice little gap between himself and the rest of the field, as he was out there to about, I think, 2 seconds before the caution came out. But now he is stuck back there in second, and we'll see what that 99 can do in dirty air for now. You know, as we talked about, getting out there in front and being able to get that air on the front of your car and helping that car turn is so important. But looks like the 99 is certainly not done with Gherkin here, looking for another way around, going to the outside now maybe, heading through turns 3 and 4 now down on the front stretch.
Yeah, it looks like these guys are running about 78, 80 miles an hour through these corners. So that should be enough for at least some of the aero of the car to really be working.
Bring up the dashboard here and to show Tommy Ryan about 80 miles an hour through 3 and 4 here, having to work the throttle a little bit here on the front stretch, although up to about 110 miles an hour on the front stretch, down to about 85 in 1 and 2, and up to close to 120 on the backstretch. It's really quick, short little bursts here, but coming off of turn 3 and 4 there onto the front stretch is really where it gets tricky, because you're really kind of drifting out towards the outside. The back end is going to want to wash out more than it is coming onto the backstretch here from turn number 2.
Yeah, definitely. My biggest problem here at Myrtle is always the entry here to 1, because it starts so early and it's so long just from that kind of, because it's not really a tri-oval. It's more like the paver crew wasn't paying attention when they were cutting the track.
Yeah,
because
it almost feels like it
doesn't
never
hold an angle the whole way.
Yeah, it never feels like it straightens out on that front stretch. It almost feels like turn 4 just kind of eventually blends into turn number 1.
Yeah. So, my question here would be, if you're Tommy here, are you just pressuring Grady into a mistake at this point? Did you try for a lap or 2 to see if there was an easy way around, and there was? So now you're just going to try to be right on the tail and see if you can get him to burn off a set of tires and make it easy on you? Because they've already put a second on Trevor Hunt now.
Well, the problem is, again, you're following this close. You're not exactly doing your own tires justice. You may be putting a little bit of pressure on the car in front of you, but you're probably going to be hurting your tires just as much. So I think he's maybe trying to put a little pressure and hope that he makes a quick mistake here to make it pass. But you see, he's kind of searching around. He's looking for different ways. I think he wants to get around this 46 and maybe set sail once again. But catching somebody and passing is 2 different things here. We've seen a couple passes happen already back further in the pack early on in the race, but now this is a battle for the lead, and certainly Grady Gerken is not just going to be giving up this position easily and anytime soon, as we are a third of the way through the race, completing 50 laps.
It almost looks like Tommy might be trying to diamond that corner off a little bit, try to get a little bit of a better run. I'm guessing he's trying to get up underneath the 46 of Grady there.
Well, it seems like he's almost trying to get a little bit more air on the front end in turns 3 and 4 as well, and work that outside line, but just washing up and out that time by and losing some time, and he's going to have to gain it all back, but he's able to get that car down a little bit further on the bottom this time, gain some of the time back, but Grady Gerken doing a great job out front, as we are now on lap number 53 at 150. Grady Gerken, Tommy Ryan, Jeremy Little, Trevor Hunt, and Peter Bezuchek, your top 5. And the rest of the field is Jeff Ryan, Fred Kirby, Scott Bolster, Justin Kirby, and Tim Glass, as he is the one car, 1 lap down right now, bringing out one and only caution here tonight. But again, just a simple little spin, but just couldn't get it back and spun around before the leaders passed him, which is why he went down the lap. But other than that, it's been lean and green here tonight at Myrtle Beach Speedway.
Yeah, it looks like Tommy last lap still clicking at 20.0. Grady just, slivered slower than there you go. Now they're 20.1s. Most of the other field is 20.2s, 0.3s. So looks like their tires are all falling off at about together. So it doesn't look like Tommy has just overworked the tire trying to put that pressure on Grady there.
Back here in the pack, battle for 8th and 9th, as looks like Justin Kirby trying to work around Scott Bolster. Again, Kirby coming in 1 point behind second place in the points, Tommy Ryan. So if both of these guys want to have a chance at catching Peter Bezuchek in the final race of the season, they've got to get a move on and try and put in a good finish here tonight. Tommy Ryan already doing so, grabbing the pole and now running in second place behind Grady Gerken, who's falling behind now a little bit, as he is over a half a second behind. So maybe that early charge here on the restart is starting to wane a little bit here and fade a little bit because of the tires. But I wouldn't be surprised if he'd just be cooling off those tires for a little bit to try and make a little more run at him. But back here, Justin Kirby, it looks like he's trying to work over this 45 and get himself up into 8th place.
Yeah, it looks like Justin able to run a little bit of a lower line there. through 3 and 4. Looks like he's going to be able to get under the 45 this time into 1 and 2.
Side by side off the corner, but give the edge to Justin Kirby now heading into turn number 3. As Bolster not giving it up any easy though, as he's making Kirby work for it. But Kirby should be able to clear now, going into 1 and 2, drifts out a little bit of an asphalt slider there, and that takes over the position, moves himself up into 8th place, and right behind his brother Brent.
So good move there by Justin.
Back up here, battle for the top 5 as Berzuchek has it, but Jeff Ryan right there as well. And a couple of these guys out here with some new paint schemes. Obviously, we see Grady Gherkin out there in the front with a little bit of a Stars and Stripes paint scheme instead of the typical black and green that we're used to seeing. Jeff Ryan back there in 6th place not only has a different paint scheme, but different number out there as well, as he's running the number 7 here tonight for those out there looking in and rooting for Jeff Ryan. I want to thank those that are out there tuning in here tonight. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe and get yourself in touch with everything that CRN has to offer as these boys wrap up their Xfinity Series. Again, next week at Atlanta will be the season finale. But we've still got over half a race here to go at Myrtle Speedway.
Yeah, looking through the times here, looks like Jeff Ryan last lap a little bit more off pace compared to the guys in front of him. Justin and Brent, they're right there kind of on those same times, but Grady and Tommy still in 20.5s or 3s. Looks like that has put Tommy right on the back of Grady again.
Real interesting with these drivers coming in on lap number 34, if that will be enough to get them all the way to the end. Again, these drivers use full fuel in the cars, and typically we'll see them have to make one pit stop in the race, but 34 laps on that first tank, which will put them right about 115, 120 laps that they'll have to do on this set of tires and this tank of fuel. So interesting to see if they can make it all the way to the end. If they're feeling like they can't, when will they decide to come in? Will they want to try and cut this thing in half and pit around, like maybe lap 110 or so? Or do you take this thing as far as it can go and just get out there and splash and bash right at the end of the race? For me, John, in a situation like that, if I know I'm going to have one more pit stop left, given that this is a short track and one caution can put you 2 laps down if you come into the pits early, I run this thing out until there is a bone dry.
That would generally be, I would say, the safe option, but also, for, I know only a handful of these guys manage to do really long runs in practice, so, sometimes there's that point where the tire just goes off, goes away completely, and you start losing massive gobs of time. So it'll be, if they start losing a second a lap or so, you could, the undercut might work, but where is that crossover point?
Not sure what happened here to Brent Kirby. Missed this here on the track, but he decides to come into the pits here. Got a little loose out of turn number 2 and brought it into the pits. But the fact that he parked there and then jumped in the pit lane, so not sure if he's got some kind of issues or emergency, whatever it may be, but looks like the 57 out of this race, at least for the time being, leaves us with 9 cars on the track, with Tim Glass being the only one lap down at the moment. Just did have a pass there as Jeff Ryan and Peter Berzuchek still battling back and forth for the top 5 here. 5th position up for grabs. Very close to the wall there for the 2 on the inside. Gives a run on the outside to Jeff Ryan. They'll still be side by side heading into turns 1 and 2 again. Berzuchek fighting everything on the inside, trying to hold on to that position. Still going to hold on to the inside heading into turn number 3. These guys certainly getting close and using up some tires here, battling each other. It's allowing Justin and Kirby to reel them both right in. Heading into turn number 1 as Ryan finally going to make the pass, but now Kirby is right there. They're going to try and join this fray.
Yeah, looking like Tommy has dropped off a little bit from the back of Grady there as well. Maybe just trying to cool the tires. Still running about the same lap times, it looks like. So maybe he realized he needed to cool them a bit. It's allowing Little to close the gap again there. So your leader's running a little bit slower than this 3-car pack while they're trying to battle here and make up time.
Yeah, Justin Kirby, the only car not to put a lap down or at least be able to record a lap in qualifying. It started at shotgun on the field, has worked his way up to 7th, and now looking to make a pass here for 6th on Peter Brzucek as we have crossed past the halfway point of this race. Looking to the inside is the 58 heading into turn number 1. Can he get in there? Can he make the pass done? Looks like the 2 maybe still nursing his tires a little bit after the battle with the 7. Excuse me, but still putting up a good fight here on the outside as Kirby will pull even on the front stretch. Should have a good line into turn number 1. Still not going to be able to complete the pass though.
It's interesting to see off of 2. It looks like the inside line really has a little more drop, but when you swap around to coming off 4, it looks like the outer line is really getting the better run onto that curved front straight.
A little moment there for the 58 getting a little sideways. It's certainly going to heat up those tires on the rear, but they've helped them out there a little bit. Maybe helped the car rotate a little bit through 1 and 2. And had a slight advantage going into turn number 3, but again, the 2 just kind of pinching him down there, and Justin Kirby still has yet to make that pass. Brzucek doing everything he can to fight on that outside. And meanwhile, the 7 of Jeff Ryan starting to stretch out a little bit from these guys.
Yeah, running side by side here, I can tell you just looking at the way these cars are, moving around after doing this for a couple of laps, the tires are starting to get angry, and it looks like, it looked like Justin may have decided to back out, and then Peter gets a little sideways and goes, well, maybe I'll try again.
That's exactly what I was thinking too. And it looks like we had a pass for 2nd place. We'll take a look at how that transpired as Jeremy Little gets a run here on the 99. Looks like Tommy Ryan just giving him the position, drifting up a little bit high, and allowing the 26 to get on by. So move Jeremy Little up to 2nd place now in the race. Oh, a little bit of a moment there. Not sure what happened there, but the 58 looked to get into the back of the 2 on the front stretch, as they are back to 6th and 7th once again, and no longer side by side, at least for the moment. We'll take a look up at the lead, and Grady Gherkin with a nice 1.7 second lead at the moment, as he's got a nice size gap. Jeremy Little running now in 2nd place as he made the pass on Tommy Ryan for 3rd. Right behind them, Trevor Hunt doing a great job up here in 4th place, before we head back to battle that we've been kind of keeping an eye on, as Jeff Ryan currently holding down 5th position. Peter Brzucek currently holding down 6th, but he's got another battle on his hands with the 58 of Justin Kirby as they battle for 6th and 7th. A little wiggle there from the 58. Looked like he was finally going to get the move done, but going to have to fight the car and fight the 2 once again, going through the corner. Back in 8th position is Scott Bolster. And then right behind him, but 1 lap down, is 9th place, Tim Glass.
Yeah, it looks like those rear tires may not be quite so happy with Justin there anymore, but it looks like he did get around the 2 to solidify that 6th position.
Finally making the pass, and now he's going to be able to catch up and work around at the 7 for the top 5 position, but everyone chasing the 46 right now of Grady Gherkin. 1.6 second lead, as it looks like Jeremy Little maybe inching into that lead here a little bit, as it crept down under 1.6 seconds there for a bit, but good to see Jeremy Little once again out there, and he's got a little bit of a car here tonight, and his sponsored race out here, again, the Meat Stick 150 here, digital meat thermometer. And I thank you once again to Jeremy Little for putting the sponsorship. But we've got a pass now for third place as Trevor Hunt goes the inside, makes the pass pretty cleanly here on the 99 of Tommy Ryan. So maybe those early laps battling with Gherkin, trying to get around, are starting to pay dividends in the wrong way here for the 99.
Yeah, it looks like it's just not, the fronts look like they're just not holding. You can see him kind of pushing up on the way into the corner, and also pushing up towards that wall on the way out. Ooh. Yeah, that's not what you want to see.
Right on board here with Tommy Ryan as he tries to hold on to the back of Trevor Hunt here.
Yeah, you can hear those tires just squealing in protest. Yeah, it's the fronts through the corners and the rears trying to get off. Yeah, but Tommy's now last lap, almost 1/10 of a second off the top guys there.
And as a driver, that's got to be the worst thing that you can have, is car being tight entering and then loose off. At least to me it is. It may feel nice and stable getting into the corner, but if you're tight, you're not going to be fast entering. And then if you're loose, you're not getting that power down, so you're going to be slow coming off the corner. So Tommy Ryan's certainly dealing with some issues right now on that 99 rated tooling equipment machine. But still hanging up there, still in fourth position, and still got quite a ways to go here, as we've got 56 laps to go in this race. But laps are clicking by pretty quickly here, John, and before you know it, we're going to be into the last little run here. We're going to have to see if these guys can actually make it all the way on fuel or not. But lead now down under 1.5 seconds as Jeremy Little putting in a couple good laps here back to back and running down this 46.
Yeah, I have to wonder. I mean, if they are close to making it, it didn't sound like Tommy was out there trying to save fuel though. So you have to wonder if Grady having that lead just protecting the tires, knowing that if Jeremy's going to try to be 1/10 of a second a lap quicker, by the time he gets up to him, that those tires are going to be very hot.
See, slow but sure, lap after lap. 26 is eating in the lead of the 46, but it looks like a little better lap time this time for Grady Gherkin, or at least a worse lap from the 26. I'm going to lose just a minuscule amount there. But all in all, doing a good job and trying to eat into this gap, unless it's just the 46, maybe just kind of holding off a little bit, saving a little bit of tires for late in this run, because if these drivers are good to go all the way to the end, you're going to need something to battle with at the end.
I haven't heard anybody coming across comms asking, oh, looks like little issue of Peter there, the number 2 car.
Yeah, and that's going to bring out another caution, and, well, that's going to answer our question if these guys can make it to the end or not. It doesn't matter. We've got a caution here, and I would assume we're going to see everybody come back into the pits, get some fresh tires. Tim Glass will be able to get back on the lead lap, should be the lucky dog, as the drivers will regroup behind the pace car. We'll take a look and see what happened to the 2, and I think it's just a little bit the same that we've seen with Tim Glass. The car getting a little bit loose header in turn number 3, a little bit of a drift through the corner, but all in all, doesn't touch anything, nobody touches him, gets it back going, and no harm, no foul, as we head back live and we see everybody coming into the pits. Now the question is, who's going to have that money stop here to get them out into the lead, as clearly the pit stop for Grady Gherkin was big. And it's got him the lead and didn't have to do it on the track. Can anybody jump in front of the 46 here? Down and away is Gherkin. He is going to maintain the lead. Tommy Ryan is going to come out in third. He's going to get ahead of Trevor Hunt, but Jeremy Little going to be in second. Tommy Ryan, Trevor Hunt, Jeff Ryan, your top five. Then you got Justin Kirby, Tim Glass jumping up to seventh. Scott Bolster, a little bit longer of a stop. He's going to come out in eighth, and then Peter Brzucek is going to come out in ninth.
Yeah, so it looks like that was almost a 70 lap run there under green. So definitely will, so they shouldn't have to save too much tire here for these last, what will it be, 46 laps maybe?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's necessarily go time just yet, but I think the drivers may get a little aggressive here on this restart. Once again, you don't want cautions breeding cautions, but when all the cars are grouped together as close as they are, it's the best chance you have of picking off one or two or three positions real quick. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of aggression from some of the drivers here on the restart, but you got to be careful too. I mean, you don't want to just throw away a good position that you have. But Grady Gherkin is going to be your control car at the front. Jeremy Little going to line up on the outside. Hopefully for his sake, the outside line gets a little bit better jump than it did last time, as Tommy Ryan going to be starting right back there in third. And that's where he restarted on the last restart, but got a great jump with Grady Gherkin to move right into second place. We'll see if he can do it again and maybe make a run once again at Gherkin, as I'm sure the guy's probably happiest that we got that caution is the 99, as he can get in there and get those fresh tires.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is, if you're Jeremy Little there on the outside, would you almost rather be where Tommy is on this restart?
Well, we're about to find out here, heading through turns 3 and 4 again. We're going to restart here at the start of lap 105. It's in the feet of Grady Gherkin. He's on the loud pedal, and we're back racing here at Myrtle Beach. Good start there from the outside. And Jeremy Little is going to slot into second place. They head down into turn number 1. And good restart for the entire field, as they're going to single file it on out. But Grady Gherkin in front, Jeremy Little, Tommy Ryan, Trevor Hunt, Jeff Ryan, your top 5. Then Justin Kirby, Scott Bolster, Tim Glass, all on the lead lap for your top 8. Peter Brzucek 1 lap down in 9th place. And then Brent Kirby out of the race earlier on here. He's going to finish in 10th. But Grady Gherkin getting the jump that he needed here on this restart.
No, absolutely. Already, got about 4/10 out, so doesn't have to worry about Jeremy sending a dop into him on cold tires. So, definitely a much more comfortable position to be in.
Even though it's short track race, it's still great to hear those cars just flying by on the backstretch there.
Yeah, because these Xfinities, they're hitting, about 8,500 if memory serves correct? So they've got those little small blocks wound up pretty tight.
I mean, not necessarily a track that you typically think of seeing Xfinity cars on here, but putting on a great show here tonight. Now under the lights here as the sun's starting to set here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Lights are on, and this thing is going to go into sunset for sure, as we've got 41 laps to go. Grady Gherkin is your leader, but you see Jeremy Little work his way through the field and move into second place. Had about 1.5 seconds in between him and Gherkin on the last run. Now it's down 2.4 seconds after the restart. We'll see if that 26 has got anything to put the meat stick number 26 into the victory lane here of the meat stick 150.
I'll say with the sun going down, that track temp is starting to cool off a little bit as well. So it will be interesting to see if that has any. Yeah, because somebody that's happy with the car in the setup at a 95-degree track may not feel the same if it hits 85 or something like that.
Yeah, down to 88 degrees right now, track temperature, as the sun's starting to set here on field and on the season. Once again, we've got Atlanta coming up next week to finish off the season, but we've got to finish off this one here at Myrtle Beach first, and it'll be real interesting to see what the points look like heading into the finale. And hopefully, JP Phillips is there to make a run at the championship, as he's been very, very dominant this season, and certainly well-deserved to be in the points lead. But I mean, Tommy Ryan, again, most wins of the season, has been very, very good as well. But it's a little quieter season for the man in the lead right now, that being Grady Gherkin, as it still has the one win on the season, but maybe not a typical Grady Gherkin kind of season. He is up there in 4th place in the points, and has had plenty of good finishes and decent finishes, but not really played a part in too many winning scenarios, but doing a good job right now. He's at the point with 35 laps to go.
Jeremy kind of keeping that gap there, almost matching him down to the kind of hundredths of a second per lap time, keeping him just right there. Tommy already falling back a little bit, so yeah, maybe they're all kind of expecting another incident before the end and want to have a set of decently strong tires at the end for a final push. But we're only just over 30 laps to go to the finish here.
So I'll put you on the spot, John. If we run this thing out, say there's a late caution, 10 laps to go, you're up there in one of the top 3 spots, whether it's first, second, or third. Knowing how difficult it is to catch up and make a pass here, do you like to come down to pit road and get those tires, or do you take a look at the guys in front of you and kind of do the exact opposite? If they come in, you stay out, and vice versa.
So the interesting thing would be if you're Grady. If you're Grady and you come in, everybody will either follow or probably leave you to your own devices. But we saw after 30 or 40 laps there, it's almost a second a lap. That might be a pretty easy pass when we're talking about a 20-second lap time.
But the question is, how many of those passes can you make if you're getting back going and it's under 10 laps to go? You're not picking off a car per lap.
Yeah, but if
everyone decides
you're going to have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If they see the leader come in, they'll probably go to come in as well, because they don't stand to lose too much. And if you're 6th, all right, well, if a couple of guys behind you pit into, you're a sitting duck. But if you take tires, and let's say 2, 3, and 4, and 5 don't, you're going to be sitting pretty good to take back a few of those positions. Might be a tall ask for to come past more than about 4 or 5 cars here before those tires are too hot to help you.
Now, granted, this is all hypothetical, as we've only had 2 cautions here tonight, both for the same situation as Tim Glass early on in the race. Had the car get a little bit loose entering turn number 3 and kind of drifted through all the way to turn number 4 before he finally lost it. And pretty much a mirror image. Peter Brzuchek did the same thing, getting a little loose heading off into 3. And just having to try and chase the car all the way through to turn number 4 before he finally lost enough to bring out the second caution. Other than that, it has been clean and green, and we are down 25 laps to go, this time by Grady Gherkin. Now starting to stretch out the lead here a little bit, out to about 0.6 of a second over Jeremy Little. Tommy Ryan still hanging on to 3rd place. Trevor Hunt and Jeff Ryan, your top 5.
Looking back here, it looks like Tim Glass is just a little ways up the road as well. So, Grady and Jeremy will have a little bit of lap traffic here to contend with coming up pretty soon.
I'm not sure if Glass is just off pace or if he had an issue, but he's certainly fallen back into the clutches of the leaders, as they should be on him by the end of this lap, if not next lap. But Tim usually very smart and a good competitor. I'm sure move out of the way of these leaders, or maybe, you know, play a little team defense and see if he can back this back up a little bit. But he is going to stay to the far outside and let your leaders by on the inside as Grady Gurkin gets on by. And a situation right there. I mean, he was staying to the outside and letting the leaders by, but Gurkin caught him at the right time that he was able to take his preferred line and not have to slow up at all. Jeremy Little had to slow up a little bit on the exit so he didn't drift out into the 18, and that cost him about a tenth and a half, maybe 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, that 0.2 here at a short track is, you know, it doesn't sound like much, but 0.2 is 2 car lengths maybe? If it's in a track like this, you know, there's your difference. You know, if we fast forward, even if he closes it back down to, you know, say 0.3, that's the difference in being able to make a lunge or not. So definitely gonna give him a little bit more work to do if he wants to try to bring home first. But honestly, it looks like Grady is just opening that gap up right now.
Out to 0.9 of a second now for the 46 as Jeremy Little now maybe having to play a little mirror defense here as Tommy Ryan right on the back bumper and looking to try and make the pass to get back into second place and have one more shot at Grady Gurkin before this thing is over. But he's going to have to get the pass done quickly. We're under 20 laps to go here, and you've seen him catch up to Grady Gurkin before and not be able to make the pass. Well, now he's got to make 2 passes. He's got to get around Jeremy Little first before he can have a crack at Grady Gurkin. It seems like he is one of the faster cars here on the track, just cannot make the pass happen right now. But he is certainly hassling at the back of that 26. Now look at the outside through 3 and 4 once again, and it's going to get a good enough run, getting very close to that wall. But he's going to have to try and make the pass now on the outside angle. 1 and 2. What a pass there for the 99. Gets it done. Moves himself into second place. And now he can have maybe one more crack at the 46 if he can catch him, as we are down to now 16 laps to go.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you couldn't have fit a piece of paper there between the 99 and that outside wall.
It's what you have to do sometimes to make these passes and get the passes complete, as we seen, earlier. Justin Kirby battling with Scott Bolster for the longest time, and then battling with Peter Brzuchek for even longer, just to try and get the pass done. And speaking of Justin Kirby, looking on getting a pass done here, and will do so, moving himself into the top 5 as he gets around Jeff Ryan here on lap number 137. We are starting to click these laps down very quickly. 14 laps to go now here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. I want to thank once again the meat stick here for the sponsor of the meat stick 150, and also Max Graphics and Rogue Energy for their sponsorships and their help here in the UCRL Man Cave After Dark Truck Series. And a shout out to Scott Bolster too, as he really does a phenomenal job here with UCRL and gives these drivers not only great setups week in and week out, and something that can be really racy, and sometimes the drivers need to tiptoe a little bit before they can really get on these cars, and other times they're just having a blast from the drop of the green flag. But really a lot of work goes into what Scott Bolster does here. So like I said, a shout out and a thank you to everything he does to help these guys out. But
issue with Peter
we may
again.
have another caution coming out here, as the 2 is sideways, and yes, we will have a late race caution. The 2 this time getting loose, heading into turn number 1, got it sideways, and unfortunately, as he tried to correct it, it just kept turning, and he had to back up on the track and go over those turtles, and you see what kind of damage those turtles can do for you. But that is, I don't want to say we called it. It's kind of crazy that I said with 10 laps to go, what happens if the caution comes out? Well, we're about to find out. Grady Gurkin in the pits, as is Tommy Ryan, Trevor Hunt, Tommy Little. Jeremy Little staying out. So now the question is, how many laps are going to be left when we take the green flag? Can these new tires for Grady Gherkin and Tommy Ryan get the pass done? As it looks like Jeremy Little, looks like Justin Kirby is in the pits, but Tim Glass not in the pits, and neither is Peter Brzucek, as Tim Glass going around and going to get his lap back one more time before he comes into the pits. I'm sure he'll come into the pits this time by. But Jeremy Little pulling maybe a race winning move here.
Yeah, if there's only 5 laps to go, do you just not pit and take that that huge bump up in the position?
Looks like he did elect to come into the pits, but we got some more developing stories here, as Grady Gherkin did take tires. Tommy Ryan did not. Or at least he only took right side tires, the way it looks, as his pit stop about 5 seconds quicker than Grady Gherkin. It was enough to get him out into second place here on the restart. So some differing strategies out here. We got Jeremy Little electing not to come into the pits. We got Tommy Ryan on right side tires. We got Grady Gherkin on 4 new tires, as is Trevor Hunt and Jeff Ryan and the rest of the field here. This is going to get very interesting here. It's going to be less than 5 laps to go. It could be right on 5 laps to go. We'll take a look and see what happens with the pace car lights, as we get a couple more guys, Tim Glass and Peter Brzucek, catching up to the field. But everybody coming in to the pits that time, except for the 26 title sponsor here on the night, and the meat stick number 26, Jeremy Little. Pace car lights should be out this time by, which will give us a 5-lap mad dash to the checkered flag.
Yeah, definitely interesting with Little not taking tires. Maybe he knows something, that maybe it's more of a temperature deal than a actual tire wear deal. If that's the case, they're going to find out pretty quick that maybe a cool down set of tires is better than a fresh set of not up to temperature.
I think either way, I like the position that the 99 is in regards to 2 tires, but the fact that he's on the outside and he's not right behind that control car of the 26, who is on the loud pedal, may not work out, but it looks like it just may, as they head off into turn number 1. 26 in the lead, but here comes a 99 on the outside, going to send it around there with those fresh outside tires. Tommy Ryan to the lead, battling for 3rd and 4th right behind, as you can throw a blanket over the top 4. Gherkin going around the outside, as is Trevor Hunt. Gherkin gets a great run on the outside. Remember, he's got the 4 fresh tires, as he's going to send it to the inside. Lock up for the 99. Inside goes Gherkin for the lead off of turn number 2.
Yeah, they're...
we got a moment back there, and now who is in the lead at the caution? Because this could be very, very big.
I don't know.
It looks like the timing and scoring is going to show Tommy Ryan in the lead. That had to be by hundredths of a second, as Jeremy Little gets tagged up there. We'll show you what brought up the yellow here. Goes in there, gets a little loose at a 3, chasing up the track, and Jeff Ryan gets into the back of him and spins him around. Looks like some damage to the back of that 26 before he gets back going. But I'll tell you what, I do want to see that again and see when the caution lights come on.
I mean, they are neck and neck.
Trying to see if the caution lights are on just
finish
yet. Not too many caution lights here around Myrtle Beach. Just trying to see where they exactly are.
There may not be caution lights.
Well, he's already waving the yellow flag, so let's try and watch from Barney as to when the caution comes out, and then maybe try and see how close that battle was for top spot. As the cars coming through 3 and 4. And right there's the 26 getting sideways.
And they are.
And right there, caution flag coming out. And again, I mean, you take a look at the top two, you can't get much closer than that. And clearly, the 99 must have been ahead at the previous scoring loop to give him the lead. As we will take you back live. And again, Tommy Ryan is going to be your control car, but he's only got those 2 fresh tires, and you've seen those 4 freshies working out pretty nicely for the 46 and gave him a run, but the run was also because of Tommy Ryan making a mistake, locking up into turn number 1. Now he knows that he cannot do that again, but we are in overtime here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. I mean, no better way to finish this thing out, of course. But we got Tommy Ryan, Brittany Gherkin, Trevor Hunt, Justin Kirby now up to 4th. Jeff Ryan, your top 5. Then you got Scott Bolster, Tim Glass, Jeremy Little, your top 8 on the lead lap. Peter Brzucek 2 laps down in 9th place. Pace car lights are out. John, are you ready for a little green-white checkered action?
Oh yeah, this is. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, obviously, Tommy gets to light it off first, but Grady, if he doesn't get caught sleeping, having those 4, he might be able to just drive on the outside. But we're gonna see here in just a second.
Pace car in, and it's in the hands and the feet of Tommy Ryan to get this thing fired off. And he is on the loud pedal. We are racing again here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Good restart on the inside there from Trevor Hunt. Remember, he's got 4 fresh tires as well and pushes the 46 up here a little bit. Them doing battle. It's given Tommy Ryan a chance to break away here a little bit. Can the 46 run him down and try and get win number 2 on the season? Is it going to be win number 7 for Tommy Ryan? White flag in the air. Next flag is going to end this thing. Just 2 more corners. The 46 dives it in there on the inside, but not going to gain enough room to make a shot here into turn number 3. Off of turn number 4, the 99, Tommy Ryan back in victory circle here. Great battle all the way to the line. And it looks like Justin Kirby just going to get it done by, you see, hundredths of a second, getting 3rd place over Trevor Hunt. We'll take a look at the checkered flag run there. You see it right here, heading to the line and how close it was. The battle for 3rd.
Looks like Justin barely got into the wall there. But yeah, that's...
And heading to the line, the 58 just getting it done. You see the 59 tries to cut down a little bit, but just edging it out by about a bumper. Fantastic run all the way to the end here. As Tommy Ryan going to burn it down on the front stretch. This was not an easy one. Not a typical Tommy Ryan kind of win where he gets in the front and checks out. He had to work for this one, and we'll bring in the top 3 in a moment here for their interviews. But John, welcome to the booth here at UCRL. Maybe only 10 cars on the track, but damn if they don't put on a good race.
Oh yeah, I mean, just right there to the very end for the strategy call for a win. I mean, yeah, if the caution wouldn't have come out, it looked like Grady may have had something for him. They were running side by side, and if you're side by side, yeah, the 4 tires may have really helped. But looks like after they kind of, I guess, normalized the temperatures a little bit after that caution, just Grady fighting a car that wasn't so happy with him.
Let's go ahead and roll it back and bring in our top 3. We're going to start off with Justin Kirby. And Justin, I got to say, I mean, clearly we had you marked for a top 3 all night.
You're a funny guy.
So tell me about the end of this race. I mean, obviously a couple cautions there at the end clearly played out in your favor, but I mean, man, you had to fight and scrape and literally scrape the wall maybe a little bit there to get around Trevor by a bumper at the line. Talk us through the final laps there.
Oh man, that was completely off kilter on what I thought was going to happen. I thought we were going to be going green like typical run, but this place is unforgiving. Just it's this place. If there was any place that simulated pea gravel that wasn't Mount Washington, it's here. And it was so darn slick. I was trying to take care of my stuff, and it just the tires weren't wearing. It was all just tire heat. So we got to the end here, and it's like, all right, hammer down, hope for the best, and just was able to pick off a couple of spots on the restarts, the last two restarts there, and was able to stay on the high side and roll the outside real good on Trevor, and just be really, really fortunate to hang on there.
I mean, probably your easiest pass of the night. Granted, you didn't have to fully complete it; you just had to be ahead at the line. But passing was not exactly easy tonight. We watched you battle with Scott Bolster there for a little bit, a long battle with Peter Brzucek a couple times before you were able to finally complete the pass. What was so difficult out here about making that pass? I mean, it seemed like there were two different lines, but one had a little bit better run in 1 and 2. The other one had a little bit better run in 3 and 4.
Yeah, definitely. The 1 and 2, as long as you could open up the corner, I mean, you were at the advantage. So if you were on the high side through 1 and 2, you were going to probably be clear going down into 3 and 4. But yeah, the bottom was the fast line. But as soon as you got side by side, you couldn't pick up the throttle and get up off the corner. So the guy on the high side just kept trucking around you. Just couldn't use any throttle. It was just as old and gritty as this place is, like you try to really gas it up on corner exit, all you do is get the right rear mat at you, and then you just fall by the wayside. So it was just a matter of being smooth and rolling around, and Grady had the best pace, and Jeremy was right there with them. So it was I was missing a little something, but you can't look a gift horse in the mouth and race. And it's like, if you get a chance to get up front, it's like you take it.
Well, speaking of a chance to get up front here, JP Phillips not in attendance here tonight. You come in 1 point behind Tommy Ryan, and you may have lost the battle here and finished 2 spots behind him, but you still have a chance at winning the war going into Atlanta. So how do you feel heading into the old Atlanta next week? Do you feel like you got a shot to maybe best the 99, maybe find your way to the top of the boards yet?
It's our lack of car count is kind of putting a damper on that, but what can you do? Everyone has to play with the same deck, and I just, unfortunately, with my bad race at Dover, when Peter ricocheted off the row off the wall at the end, I mean, that cost me 15 points because I was going to be 4th and I ended up 7th. So Atlanta's going to be, I'm just going in there, not even thinking points, just going fun. That's all I can do, because it's like I try to worry about, it's like, what if I do this? You end up thinking yourself into a hole. It's just go out there, see what you can get, and let the points fall where they are. Because with the throwouts I got, I have a bit of a shot, but I haven't really figured it out myself. But yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah, about as interesting as watching you guys battle all the way to the checker flag here tonight for sure. Well, either way, congrats on 3rd place. Doesn't matter if it happens, by 10 miles or a bumper. You got it done here tonight. So congrats on the podium. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Well, getting guys at Black Magic, all the help it's like we do our best to help each other out, and Brent, Trevor, Tommy, Jeff, fantastic run too. He was not easy to pass either. That was a lot of fun running him. JP, I know he's not here, but he'll be back next week. Jeremy, showing up and really putting it down, showing us like, hey, I still remember how to do this. So yeah, and Tommy he is our resident Thanos. If you're gonna win a race here, it's inevitable that you got to fight him. He's just literally inevitability in this thing.
Well, you're doing your best, and like I said, only 1 point behind him heading into the penultimate round. So you've clearly got a fast number 58 this season. We'll see if you can try and take down the monster next week. But congrats on the top 3 here tonight. Go celebrate, and we'll see you at Atlanta.
Well, if I can get Robert Downey Jr. on my side, we can do that. Have a good night, guys.
You too, buddy. That is your 3rd place finisher here tonight, the 58 of Justin Kirby. 2nd place, John, why don't you go ahead and take the 46 of Grady Gherkin?
So Grady, leading most of the race there, you decided to take 4 tires. Looks like Tommy only took 2 there in the end. Do you wish you would have just gone for the 2, or?
No, I don't think so. If I went with 2, I was probably going to loop it around. And Tommy had a close call there with it too. I thought he was gone, and then somehow he hung on to it.
Yeah, it looked like before the wreck there that you may have had a nice run before that final caution on him. But I guess when it restarted, it looks like you may have. Did he catch you sleeping, or did you manage to spin the tires up?
No, my restart was okay, but just timing it right with them is always kind of tricky to do. Even when I had the restarts earlier, you'd get a good jump. So that's just kind of how it goes. I was hoping I could stay up next to him on the outside there, and that would give me a good shot at it.
So we heard Justin say that it wasn't really so much tire wear as tire temperature, but definitely looked like, was it Trevor that stayed out, or?
No, that was Jeremy Little.
Yeah.
Yep, Jeremy stayed out, and then Tommy took 2. So we had a whole kind of different bunch of plans going on there.
Yeah, it looks like that bit Jeremy a little bit and gotten dropped back all the way to 7th, but
he was feeling a little lonely there, I think.
So were you hoping for it to go just green the entire way? I mean, it looked like you had to have that little right on the run.
Yeah, I was counting the paycheck already, so I thought it was good to go to the finish, and then I saw the car around in 1 and 2. The yellow wasn't out yet, and then I got to him and it came out, and I figured it was going to get real interesting and dicey there.
Well, a nice stars and stripes paint job for tonight. So
yeah, this Chevy Camaro tonight was as fast as Xfinity Internet for sure. We gotta get that plug in there, but no, definitely wanted to. It's so close to Memorial Day, run the Stars and Stripes. Little tribute to the fallen heroes and their families and everything, and it's a pretty nice looking car. I think it's a Josh Berry car paint scheme. I got that off of Trading Paints, so just wanted to run those colors tonight, and it was playing out pretty good for us.
Well, coming in, looks like you made up a little bit of ground there on the championship leader tonight. You hoping for something out of Atlanta?
It would take something drastic, I think, at Atlanta. Right now, I think the battle's more between myself and Justin Kirby after some of these drop weeks are falling. So kind of more or less going for, at this point, I think, 3rd in the championship. But we'll see. We got one more race. We'll see kind of what happens there.
Well, congratulations on 2nd place tonight. Anybody you want to give a shout out to on that 46 machine before we let you go celebrate?
Yeah, just shout out to my teammates. Thanks for Tim coming running tonight too. Thanks to you guys up in the booth. It's always fun to watch these races back. Thanks for Scott and doing the setups and putting the time into everything with the league. And thanks for everybody tuning in out there watching.
All right. Well, congratulations.
Thanks, fellas.
That is your 2nd place finisher here tonight, the 46 of Grady Gherkin. Finally, the man of the hour is going to be the 99 of Tommy Ryan. And Tommy, not exactly a typical Tommy Ryan win, as these guys made you work for it a little bit here tonight.
I know. I felt, obviously pretty confident in the first run. And I was having some technical difficulties in the car that I had to fix under the first stop. So that's why I came out 3rd. And then just tried to run consistent and just try to stay with Grady. And I end up just tearing the tires to pieces some way or another. I'm not even sure how or why that happened. But yeah, I got gifted a bunch of cautions and took 2 tires, got some track position, which was very treacherous, as I'm sure you guys saw in the one start. But understood what the car couldn't do on the next restart. So I stole that one away from Grady because he was probably the better car. I think it had a lot to do with who was out front. Clean Air does a lot for these things. So if you're in clean air and don't make a really bad mistake, then shouldn't have any problems. But yeah, Grady, he got that one stolen from him.
I mean, this thing felt like it should come down to inches, and ultimately I feel like it did. I mean, middle of the run there, Grady Gherkin, like you said, he had the lead, and it seemed like you're trying to pressure him, you're trying to hassle him, and trying to make a run on him a couple times, but it cost you a few positions after burning up those tires. But ultimately, you find your way back up to the front, you get those 2 tires, you make the mistake in turn 1, but you were just enough to stay right with him. And I mean, I'd love to go back and see exactly where the timing and scoring loop is for when that caution came out, because you guys were absolutely side by side all the way through 3 and 4 when the caution came out. And I mean, I could have tossed a couple names in a hat and picked it out who was actually in the lead between you and Grady, but iRacing gave the nod to you, and it seems like that was literally the winning move for you.
Yeah, I was pretty sure it came out just after we crossed the line, because it was so close. I went back and looked at it. It looked like I beat him by just inches, maybe 8 to 10 or something like that. So it was close, and I think the yellow flew right after we crossed the line is what I remember. And I was like, well, we're going to find out who's going to win this, because whoever's going to control the restart was going to be able to get away, and you can't catch somebody in the first corner unless that leader really screws up. So I kind of understood what the car wasn't capable of doing on 2 tires, getting in the corner. So I just made sure I got in there somewhat conservatively, but not give it away either. So that's tough to do.
So as you mentioned, you take 2 tires on that final pit stop. Was that always going to be the design to try and get the track position? Was it to help the car rotate through the corner, a little bit of both?
Mainly just to get the track position. And I didn't, I short fueled it already on the previous stop, so I only had about 10 gallons in it. And I said, well, as long as I don't take any gas and just put 2 tires, it should be fairly manageable. Maybe a little bit slicker on the exit of the corner, but I should be fine. But no, it was probably the most treacherous entering the corner.
Getting in the corner,
middle seemed.
Yeah, for some reason we could tell.
The middle was fine. Yeah, the
Especially
middle was okay as long as you didn't bum rush the entry.
Yeah.
And then as long as you let the car set, then you could get back to the throttle as if you had 20 lap tires or something, and then it put the power down at that point. So I just had to be really careful about how hard I was getting in. But I knew those guys were really going to dig getting in, so I was hoping they were going to get too loose or something. But it worked out. Glad to get this one in the books. It was there's a lot of work. So.
Yeah, absolutely. But it gets you win number 7 now on the season. JP Phillips not in attendance here tonight. Not sure how much that's going to shake up the point standings, but you guys head into Atlanta. You came in here 65 points behind, a mere point ahead of Justin Kirby, and you best him by 2 spots here tonight as he had a great last lap, last turn pass to make 3rd place. But it's certainly a little tighter in the standings heading into Atlanta next week. How do you feel about Atlanta, the old Atlanta next week? Do you feel like you can maybe grab win number 8 to cap off the season?
Yeah, mile and a halves are fun, especially in this car, and clean air is going to be premium. And then, just don't make mistakes. Don't speed on pit road and stuff like that. And it should be a fairly fun race. So look forward to it.
I'm certainly looking forward to it too. So congrats again on your win here tonight. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to before we let you go?
Thanks to my team. I say it every week. They get us up to speed pretty quickly. I didn't put a whole ton of laps in for this track, which is probably why I was able to tear my tires up a little sooner, because I typically do that in our practice sessions. But yeah, Black Magic, good group of guys, very competitive and want to perform well, and that's what we do. Northern Tool and Equipment, so please go to northerntool.com and get everything you need for your spring stuff. And thanks for Scott for putting all his time and effort in this league, even though it's doing a little down to, about 10 drivers, but he still puts the time in and tries to make it happen. So we enjoy that, and you guys put on broadcast.
Absolutely, and we appreciate that. Congrats on win number 7. We'll see you next week at Atlanta. See if you can cap off the season, but take some time to celebrate this one.
All right, bud. Thanks.
That is your winner here tonight, the 99 of Tommy Ryan. And then there was one more race left in the season here, and once again, that's going to be Atlanta next week at the old Atlanta. We'll see how slick and treacherous that is, but tonight was certainly a good one. It may have been a lot of follow the leader for quite some time here, and everybody just kind of playing out their cards, but a couple of timely cautions here, John, made it just a wee bit interesting at the end.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if they go green to the end, Grady, running door to door with Tommy there, that would have been an interesting, 10 laps if they were to have been side by side the entire way. But, and where Justin wound up in that, it's one of those races you could what if just about the whole thing, but definitely the last 30 laps there kept you on the edge of your seat.
Well, once again, last race of the season coming up next week. Make sure you tune into that one. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe. Thank you to Max Graphics for their continued sponsorship here of the Man Cave After Dark Xfinity Series, as well as Rogue Energy, tonight's sponsor of the Meat Stick 150 as well. Thank you to all the fans that tuned in, and I'm already looking forward to coming to Atlanta next week, next week, and not only getting the race winner, but crowning the champion here for the Xfinity Series. It was a great season, and a lot of drivers are certainly well deserving of that, but we'll see how the points stack up and who's in the running for the Man Cave After Dark Xfinity Series Championship this season. But for myself and John here at the Myrtle Beach Speedway, we'll see you at the track.